Should be live. Unfortunately, I had to do this on my phone. Not sure which way the screen is, whether it's landscape or portrait. Let me just check. So yeah, I do apologize for the delay with the stream. We're gonna have to do it like this. It's only gonna be a quick one. I'll answer some of the questions. We'll get into the Bitcoin price, talk about the news a little bit, but for some reason my PC just does not want to go live. I've got super fast internet, just doesn't want to go live, guys. I don't know why, but we'll have to make do with this. So yeah, get your questions in. If you have any questions, we'll do it as a bit of a Q&A format. I will speak first a little bit about the market and what's going on. So we had news come in today regarding the Clarity Act, and basically Brian Armstrong opposed it. There were certain things within the act which he opposed within the crypto market structure bill, and the CEO of Coinbase essentially opposed parts of the bill. One part was the fact that it would include a de facto ban on tokenized equities. So we know that's a big space in crypto, right? Real world assets, tokenized equities. The act that was going to be passed would include a de facto ban on those very equities, tokenized equities. So that's one part. There was multiple areas where he had an issue with, but essentially, the Senate Banking Committee has canceled the voting on the crypto market structure bill. Now, that was going to be something that was going to be quite bullish for the market. So obviously, that being canceled, maybe short-term bearish. We did have as well unemployment claims come in. It actually came in better than expected. So we had 198,000 unemployment claims, with a forecast of 215,000. So it came in lower than expected, which is better for unemployment data, shows the economy is in a better position than people expected. Now, with that said, that will drastically decrease the potential for rate cuts going forward, because good unemployment data means less rate cuts, therefore maybe risk on assets will feel a little bit of pain as a result of that. So I've said before, you can pretty much write off a rate cut in January. There's basically no chance that that happens. And then the other two that we have in the first part of the year, you can pretty much also write those off, in my opinion, or at least they have a very low probability of coming into fruition. So I'm going to get through some of the comments. Please hit a like on the stream. We've got to make do with what we have here. I tried to stream on the PC for those who are just joining. We're having issues with the internet. Well, it wasn't even the internet, because the internet's 300, 400 megabytes download and upload. So I don't know why it's having issues, but maybe they just don't want me to share my screen. But yeah, we got a current 5% chance of a Fed rate cut in January. And then as for March, we have a 25% chance of a rate cut. And then April, we have a 29% chance of a rate cut. So very low probabilities. You know, maybe you toss a coin that we get one rate cut by the end of April. Toss a coin, maybe we get one out of those three. You know, when you've got two potential rate cuts, both around 30%, maybe one of them hits. But honestly, if I was taking a bet, I would bet that we get no rate cuts until the second half of the year. That's my personal opinion, because the data's not bad enough to warrant rate cuts. We know how this Fed acts. They don't just cut for the sake of it. They only cut if the data warrants it. How many times have we heard Jerome Powell say that? So I don't think they're going to cut just to help the economy. As much as Trump would want that, I don't think they're going to do it. They're only going to rate cut out of necessity. And that's why I don't believe we're getting a rate cut, because if you look at the unemployment data, it seems decent. Okay, the labor market is not plummeting to the downside like many people expected. Myself being one of those. If you would have asked me, about 6 months ago, where do I see the labor market by now? I would say it would be in a complete disaster state. Now, maybe it actually is, and they're just hiding it from us. But I expected serious labor market capitulation by this point of the year, early 2026. I thought it'd be in a disaster zone, but it hasn't been. It's actually held up relatively well. So we're not getting any rate cuts anytime soon. I personally believe this whole rally is a fake rally. Now, I know that's a bit of a term which people will take issue with. How can a rally be fake? A rally is a rally is a rally, right? But the reason why I believe it's a bit of a fake rally and it's a complacency shoulder and it's a lower high and it's a bull trap, bear market rally, there's loads of different ways of defining it, loads of different ways of saying it. But essentially what I believe is that this rally for Bitcoin will be short-lived, or short-lived, as Jerome Powell would say. And I believe it will be the rally which leads to the real bear market. That's my opinion. This is the rally which leads to the bear market. Every real bear market begins after a complacency shoulder. What we had with Bitcoin going down to $80,000 for me, that was a little glimpse of what a bear market feels like. That was them showing us what to prepare for. In my opinion, that was not the bear market. We will have more pain to feel this year for cryptocurrency. But I stand by the fact that I believe Bitcoin will see 100K first, and then we go down to the 200-week moving average. Now, I've given a range. My range has always been somewhere between 100K to 106K, I believe, will get the rejection. Somewhere in that range. Why do I say 100K? Well, 100K is a major psychological level. It's also the 50-week moving average. So do with that what you will, but we have 2 points of confluence there around 100K. Two major things pointing together, coming together. One being the 50-week moving average, the point that Bitcoin lost, and then I flipped macro bearish. And two being the most psychological level ever on Bitcoin, arguably, which is $100,000. So, in my opinion, we still have a little bit more upside to go this month. Maybe it takes next month, but I believe we'll see that move this month, that complacency shoulder. The 50-week moving average right now is set at 101, so a little bit above 100K, but it's creeping down slightly. And yeah, I believe that we'll get a move up there, followed by a rejection. Maybe we go a little bit higher. It would catch everyone off guard, right? If they brought us up to 106 instead of 100K, so everyone's saying, we're going to reject at 100K. And then we get above 100K, and then loads of people jump back in. They say, I'm bullish again. This time's different. And then they just stop us at 106, the 200 daily moving average. 106 has multiple points of confluence as well. It is the target from the recent cup and handle we've been in on Bitcoin. It is the lows of the macro upside range. You know, that big range at the top of boredom, where we were kind of topping out. We topped with apathy. It was a boring top. The lows of that range are around 106K as well. 106, 107. The 200 daily moving average is around 106. We rejected at that point during the sucker rally last time. It's the cup and handle target, and you have a golden pocket fib retracement or fib extension when you go from top to bottom, a little bit above that, 108, 109, something like that. So with all of that said, I believe we are still in that move to the macro lower high. We're going to reject somewhere between 100K to 106, most likely. I mean, this could be the top. This could be the end of the complacency bounce, but I think it's unlikely. I think we've got a bit more to go. Alts haven't really come out of their shell much yet. You know, one of the interesting things about today is Bitcoin is down about 1% or 2%, whereas many of the alts are down much more than that, right? Many of the alts are down 6, 7%, 8% today. IP, one of the trades I gave, which made us great money, I took profits on it, by the way, and this is why you should take profits. IP is actually down 28% today, 28% in one day. Aerodrome is down 11% today. Monero is down 10%, Render's down 8%. Bitcoin only down about 1.4%. So I think part of this might be down to the Clarity Act and the fact that it's being cancelled for now. The voting for today was cancelled because of Brian Armstrong's removal of his support. He put a post out on X, I believe it was, stating the reasoning behind his support. He says, crypto needs to be treated on a level playing field with the rest of the financial services so we can build this industry in a safe and trusted way in America. So that's what Brian Armstrong said. But welcome to the stream, everyone. I can see we've got 117 people watching. Please hit up the likes. We've got 20 likes on the stream. If you're just joining, I was planning on doing a regular stream with a PC, but it didn't want me to stream today for some reason. It's not the Wi-Fi. Don't know what else it could be, but maybe it's the streaming service is having issues. Alif says, Bitcoin dominance looks like it's about to do something that alts would not like. Braveheart says 102K and then 74K. I agree with you, Braveheart. Now, maybe it's not exactly 102. Maybe it's 103, maybe it's 106, maybe it's 101. But I agree with the general gist of what you're saying. We're going to have that move up, followed by a rejection, and then we'll come and sweep those macro range lows around 74K. We could even go a little bit lower than 74. Everyone thinks 74 has to be the floor because there's so much confluence pointing at that level. The 2024 high in March, I believe it was. 2024, 2 years ago now. That's crazy. March 2024 high. Also, the point we found the lows during the tariff crash, during the tariff Armageddon, the Liberation Day situation. So there's a lot pointing to that $74,000 region, but it really wouldn't surprise me if they bring us lower because it's too obvious, right? 74K is too damn obvious. Everyone knows 74K is a major level. If they bring us down to 74, it's not going to be a big surprise, right? I feel like you need a bit of shock. You need a bit of pain. You need max pain. Everyone thought that the bottom, or a lot of people did, thought that 20K would be the bottom during the 2022 bear market because 20K was the 2017 all-time high. Bitcoin usually comes down to the previous all-time highs during its bear market, right? It flips previous resistance into support, and it builds really good structure. So everyone thought 20K would be the bottom because that was the bottom during the 2017, as that was the top rather during the 2017 bull market. Where did we bottom out? It was 15K, so they brought us below. Now many people believe 74K will be the bear market bottom because that is a major point of confluence. Where do I believe the bottom will be? I believe it will be below that, most likely. Now, people would say 69K because that was a 2021 November high. Even that, I believe we could lose. You know, what would be really funny is if the Bitcoin bear market bottom is at $64,000, the April high of the 2021 bull market. So everyone's thinking the bottom's going to be either 74 or 69 because those are the two major levels. And then they just sweep that and wick us down to 64. And that could align with the 200-week moving average at the time. I thought the 2017 all-time high was 17K. It depends on the exchange. It depends if you're counting a wick. But for me, I have the 2017 all-time high being 19,200. That's what it says on CoinMarketCap, but I think it was a little bit higher than that. It definitely wasn't 17K. Maybe that was the candle close, but we did go higher than 17. I think it was around 20K. It might have been just below 19.7, 19.6, something like that. But the 2017 bull market high was around 20K. Just say, give or take a little bit, right? But it wasn't 17. Bitcoin's going below 40K. Interesting comment. Interesting comment. Why do you believe we'll go below 40? I personally don't see us going below the 200-week moving average, which is currently sat around 57 and it's creeping up. So it's only going to go higher the more we chop sideways in the 90s. But yeah, I don't see us going below that unless, I want to make a very clear distinction, unless we have some sort of major financial economic collapse, some major crisis. The only way I see us going below the 200-week is if there is a genuine crisis globally, economically, or if there is some sort of World War III scenario, in which case Bitcoin might do well, actually. But you never know. Or if like Binance goes under or Coinbase goes under, one of these major exchanges, or USDT breaks. They would be the only scenarios where I could see Bitcoin losing its 200-week. Bitcoin got very close to bottoming at its 200-week, and then I think we had, we had a recession actually in the US during 2022, but the Biden administration lied about it. They said there wasn't a recession, but there clearly was. Anyone who knows any basic economics knows that a recession is defined by 2 negative quarters of GDP decline, so 2 quarters of GDP going down rather than going up. We had that under Biden. We had a recession, but for some reason, they were able to just kid everyone into thinking there wasn't a recession. But there was. There absolutely was. And that is part of the reason why Bitcoin's bear market last time around was so brutal, because there was a recession going on. The other reason why it was so brutal was really the FTX crash. That brought us lower than where we were supposed to bottom. It looked like we were bottoming out. We had some bottoming out structure around 17, 18K on Bitcoin in 2022. And then we got hit by FTX, and that absolutely sent us down to 15. And that's when I started buying crypto to an insane degree. I was buying little bits here and there at 17K. And by the way, I had a YouTube channel back then as well, so it's all publicly available if you go all the way back, right? 4 years or whatever it is now. But yeah, I was bulk buying crypto when FTX was happening, because it was just too obvious. I couldn't see it getting any worse than that. I couldn't see it getting any worse. That was the worst case scenario. I mean, it could have got worse, but the odds were very low. That was a rock bottom scenario for me, was the FTX situation. So that's why I was buying like a maniac when that happened. And, you know, I wasn't buying blue chips, really. People thought I bought the likes of BNB and Solana in the bear market. I didn't. I didn't really buy blue chips. Because you got to realize, I was like, what, 16, 17? I'm 21 now, so if you go back to 2022, I was a teenager. I was just like, gamble, gamble, gamble. We got to find the next big narrative. I don't care if I lose all this money that I've made. So I had some Bitcoin, don't get me wrong. I had like maybe 40, 50% of my portfolio in Bitcoin. But the other half, I went right out into AI coins, low cap AI coins, Singularity Net, Viot, those types of coins, because I saw ChatGPT was coming around. There was some AI buzz, but it wasn't mainstream. And then all of a sudden, all you hear is AI, 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 ChatGPT. It's all over the news, CNBC, Bloomberg covering it day after day. And that's where I made those 50 to 100 X's with those low cap AI coins. And that was really the thing that, you know, allowed me to be financially free. I mean, I made good gains in 2021, don't get me wrong. But then I duplicated those gains times like 10, times 20 in the year of 2023. And that's really what allowed me to do this for a living. But yeah. See if we got any comments. I'm going to pull them up on my monitor because they're too small on my phone. Let's get the likes up though. We've only got 29 likes. There's 140 watching. Please do hit up the likes. Helps out a ton with the channel. Give us some free nuggets, boss, so we can have money to join your Discord. I'm not going to give financial advice, but one thing I will say is I give it a strong chance that Bitcoin rejects somewhere between 100 and 106K. So I'm thinking of building up a short at that price, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be high leverage. On Blowfin, you can do 1x leverage, you can do 2x. Sometimes I do 1x leverage, like I don't even use leverage because leverage is a very dangerous tool. Even for me, I've lost a ton of money leverage trading. The more leverage I use, usually the more I lose. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had some great wins on leverage, but I've also had huge losses. So what I find is the trades that I do that are 1x or 2x leverage typically are the big winners. And you can do all of that on Blowfin. But what I would say is, yeah, there's a good chance Bitcoin rejects that, so I'm looking to build up a short. I'm not going to tell you what you should do, that's up to you, but I'm probably going to be looking to build up a short position around that level. Obviously, other things have to go the right way as well for me to do that, but I'm looking into it strongly. And if you are interested in Blowfin, it's a non-KYC exchange. You can use it anywhere in the world. You can use it in the US with a VPN. And there is a link. Let me post a link. I don't know if there's one in the description. I'm gonna post it in the description so you guys can get it if you are interested. And there is a current promo on right now where you can get some free rewards. But yeah, I kind of like this live stream format as well. I do kind of like it. It's more chill. It's a more chill format. I thought the fact that the last live stream went wrong because of the computer going bust, I thought no one would watch this one, but we got a decent amount of people in here, which is good. But Bitcoin right now is at 95.4K. We're seeing a little bit of a sell-off. It was bound to happen, right? We just ran up from 90K up to 97, 98 in a very short span of time, just a few days. So it makes sense that we're going to have that little bit of a correction here. I do see us maybe correcting down to 94.7, which was the breakout point. Retest those lows of the macro range. It's not macro. I keep using the word macro when it's not. I mean, it's medium-term range, right? Going back from November 2025. Retest those highs. Did I say lows? Am I jumbling my words up? Retest the highs of that range at 94.7. Flip that into support and then get a bounce. Seems likely for me. Polygon pumping that day because Tangem Pay sending Visa cards out to spend USDC on Polygon. Right, interesting. Polygon's a decent project. It's a layer 2 on Ethereum. It's been around for a while. I don't have any, and I haven't had any really this bull run. But I think I've held it in the past cycle. Archie's Discord is amazing. Great community. Join, guys. I do appreciate that, Kevin. Definitely agree. There's no group like it. Man, looking back at that last live stream, it was insane lag. Looks like McDonald's Wi-Fi. So let's see if we've got any questions in the chat about the markets. See what you guys are saying. Am I jumping into the privacy narrative? I'm not jumping into it. I've thought about it multiple times, but for whatever reason, I haven't jumped into it. Is my camera fully straight? I don't know. Yeah, Blowfin can be used in Canada. Just make sure you've got a VPN, and you can use it anywhere with a VPN. I strongly recommend people use a VPN anyway. Like, people say, why would I use a VPN? Well, for your protection online, it's freaking common sense, right? I thought most people use VPNs, but I'm clearly in the wrong crowd. I thought that was like, you know, common knowledge, but obviously there's a lot of non-tech savvy individuals out there. But I just thought loads of people use VPNs to protect their data because it's just sold and you know? Archie, don't you think there is almost no participation of retail this cycle? The market should have pumped a lot. Believing that the big money don't like a lot of retail participation in the market. Yeah, so retail definitely participated this bull run. The idea that there was no retail participation, I think, is wrong. I mean, look at all of us, right? We're retail. But I get what you're saying. You're trying to make a point. But even still, right, we had meme coins shooting up. We had Pepe going to what? Was it 20 billion almost? Something like that? We had the whole... Remember when Peanut the Squirrel came out? We had Trump coin. How high did that go? That was retail driven. So there was definitely elements of euphoria. Now, I've been having this debate with people in the Discord, in the voice chats. Did we have euphoria? I would say there was elements of euphoria. I wouldn't say we had the euphoric blow off top that we're used to, but I would certainly say there were elements of euphoria. Not out and out euphoria, but elements of euphoria. And you can't really have that without retail. We did have elements of that. But it was not how we're used to, right? There's no denying. I'm not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. We did not have that euphoric blow off top that we're used to having. Going lower to the 200 MA before making a move to 106. So you think we go to the 200 now and then move up to 106? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It's possible, but I think we go up a bit more. I think we go up a bit more and then we go lower. That's my take. And that's been my take for weeks now. Anyone who's been watching the channel frequently, they'll know my take. I've been very, very consistent. Even when Bitcoin was at 84, 85, I was saying the same thing. I kept saying, we're going to make the move up to the 50-week and then we're going to reject. I probably got annoyed. I probably annoyed people. I was probably annoying the amount of times I was saying it. Drilling it into people's heads. You guys are probably sleep talking about the 50-week moving average. That's how often I was saying it. Speaking about sleep talking, does anyone else talk in their sleep about crypto? Or am I the only person that does that? Because I've been told that I do that many times. That's what happens, I guess, when you work 16 hours a day. You can't even switch off. Do I still think Sui will hit $5? Hello from Vegas. I think it will hit $10 at some point, but not anytime now. Not anytime soon. And I'm bullish on Casper. I'm bullish on all the same altcoins long term, but not in the next few months. I still think they are going to go lower. I still think there's pretty big risks. Peter says, I'm not going to read that out, but that's funny, man. It's supposed to be super rare, though. I don't think many people actually talk in their sleep. It must be a problem where you can't switch your mind off. It's always... That's just how I've always been, though. My mind's always been, like, on fire, in a way. It's not always a good thing. Can be a good thing. You can use it to your advantage. But it can also be an annoyance. Like, it's hard to sit still. You feel like you constantly have to be stimulating your mind. Yeah, literally, Fetcho. I'll be talking about the 200 moving average in my sleep. No joke. Not even kidding. Monero will crash 90% one day. The way it trades seems very unusual. Same thing I noted with Mantra. Maybe, but the difference is Mantra was a very centralized RWA coin. Monero is extremely decentralized. You got to realize that, right? There's the coins that usually dump to zero are the very centralized coins, the likes of Luna, Mantra, those types of coins, extremely centralized, a single point of failure, right? One person or one thing can cause the demise of the entire project. Whereas something like Monero or Bitcoin or Litecoin or Casper, they're very decentralized projects, so I think it's hard for them to just crash to zero. Monero is a privacy coin. It's used for drug dealers. It's used for all sorts of activities, right? It's got a real use case. At the end of the day, it's got a real use case, which is privacy. Interestingly, though, I'm going to post this actually somewhere if I can. There's a clear trend line on Monero that it's about to hit right now. So there's a good chance it could reject here, and this could be the local top. There's a good chance. Where can I post this? Because you guys can't see my screen because I'm streaming on my phone. Let me post this. I'm going to post it in my free Telegram. I'm going to post it in the free Telegram. I'm going to link that in the chat right now so you can join. Make sure to join the free Telegram if you're not already in there. I post some updates on there. And I also give you an announcement when I'm going live sometimes as well. Let me try and post it in there for you guys. But yeah, I'm seeing a bit of a trend line on Monero on the weekly that it could be a rejection point here. Just something to bear in mind. I'm not saying it's fully topped out here, but there is a chance that we're witnessing like a short-term top here on Monero. I'm going to post this in the free Telegram group. I'm also going to post it in my Discord VIP chat. So if you're a VIP, you don't need to go there. You can just see it in the main VIP chat. What kind of phone are you streaming on? I'm just streaming on the latest iPhone. Don't know which number, I've lost count. I've lost count which number it is. 16, 17, I don't know. I don't check the number. I just go in and say which is the new phone and I just buy it. I've lost count of the numbers. After like the iPhone 12 or 13 or something, I just lost count. I literally opened a 10x long on XMR and closed it instantly because I promised I wouldn't trade alts outside the top 5. Yeah, trading alts outside the top 5 is very risky. I would probably recommend just trading Bitcoin if you're going to trade something with leverage and then just 1x leverage everything else other than Bitcoin. It's just not worth the risk sometimes. Maybe use 2x here and there, but I wouldn't be using 20x, 30x, or 10x or anything like that on alts. It's just too risky. I've learned my lesson with that. Philip says, yo Archie, my goat. How's it going, Philip? Welcome to the stream. I still have my iPhone 3. I feel like the iPhones haven't really had like a breakthrough development since the iPhone X. That was like the breakthrough phone. And then after that, it kind of just plateaued the growth. Like it's just very diminishing returns, I think, with the iPhone. It'll be interesting to see how much they implement AI in the next one. Because one of the things with Apple is they've kind of been falling behind the competition a bit with AI, right? That's been one of the major criticisms of Apple as a company, is the lack of development in the AI sector compared to the likes of Microsoft, Google, Meta, NVIDIA, obviously. the other Mag 7 players. But Apple usually, they take their time before they do something. They don't rush, right? Some of the other players, they'll rush into decisions, but Apple usually hold back, wait, and then make sure they give a good product. What's my time frame for the next bull cycle? Well, it all depends how long it takes for us to do this complacency shoulder and then come down to the 200-week moving average, assuming that's going to happen. Obviously, there's a chance we skyrocket up to 200K, as I always say. There's a chance of that, but I give it a low chance. It's the unlikely case, not the base case. The base case is that we have a complacency shoulder followed by a further bleed out. It just depends how brutal the dip is. If it's a slow bleed, kind of like that 8-month consolidation we had, could be the end of the year. But if we can just get this over with, rip the Band-Aid off and just absolutely tank, then that's the ideal scenario. That's what we want. I just want a brutal bear market, get it over with, and then we can just kickstart the next bull run and go to 200K Bitcoin, go to 10K ETH, and have a real alt season. Because I believe next time is going to be the real alt season. Like, we had mini alt seasons this time. We had 3 mini alt seasons. But next time, I believe we have the mega alt season adoption cycle where everything freaking explodes. But I just don't think we had the right macroeconomic environment to warrant that last year. But whenever Bitcoin resets, we get that major bounce, we get that V-shaped recovery, then, you know, I believe we will see the craziest alt season ever, because it's going to be so suppressed because of the disappointment of 2025. I think the next time is actually going to be even better than 2021 potentially, especially if we get all this QE that we're expecting. Crypto Tech Cody, how's it going? Great to see you. Very decentralized projects like Monero that you don't see transactions are extremely risky. Monero has a lot of problems with the low and also 51% hacked by Cubic. I'm not saying Monero is perfect. I'm just saying that it's more decentralized than Mantra and Luna, right? So I'm not saying it's perfect. There's certainly elements to it which are not perfect. But it's definitely more decentralized than a lot of the other projects in the space. That's the point I'm making. Nowhere have I claimed that it is perfectly decentralized and everything else, and there's no risks. Apple want to come out with a foldable phone and copy Samsung. It's possible. Quite often, Apple just sits back, waits, and then delivers it, right? And people think they copied, but it might have actually been in the plans all along. So if we look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour, we had that cup and handle, we got the bounce, and now it seems like Bitcoin wants to like pull back probably to 94.7, 94.8. Though it's possible it doesn't even do that, right? But I think it's a likely scenario that Bitcoin's about to bounce to 101 to 106K in the coming days. So guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. Please do hit up the likes. Definitely join the VIP. There's a current discount code available, 40% off. I never do discounts. Well, I very rarely do discounts of 40% off or more. So definitely use that. The last time I did a discount like this was the Black Friday sale. So, you know, you're talking maybe once or twice a year. So use the code TARIF at checkout, because we're still waiting on the tariff decision. Use that code at checkout on any of the membership options, and you're going to save yourself 40% off. There is a link in the description just down below. And for those of you who are unable to go into the description, it's whop.com/cryptoarchie. That's WHOP.com/cryptoarchie. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I don't know how to end this stream because I'm streaming on my phone, so it should be pretty easy, I think. But yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. If you like this kind of stream, just let me know in the comments section. Let me know if you prefer this kind of stream. Obviously, I had to do this stream because the PC wasn't allowing me to stream. But yeah, appreciate all of you watching, and I'll see you over in the Discord.